So, hey guys, I used to have this really bad habit of when I wanted something or desired something, I would pray about it and then right afterwards go take it, have it, or just move towards securing it, whatever it was, right? And in my mind, I will have deceived myself into believing that I prayed about it and that God said yes, because obviously when I want something, God wants the same thing for me. Right? Or like, well, it wasn't that like simplistic, I'm oversimplifying it, but it was a case of like, God, look, I've done the feasibility study on this, on why I should have this. I've looked at all the merits of this situation. I've weighed it up, and you know what? It's good for me, and I think you're going to agree with me. So it was more that, right? But even still, it was just deception, right? So I would go off and just take the thing, and I did that for a while in my relationship with God, and I was always coming up short, right? Because I was being disobedient. And I got myself, burnt my fingers, and I got myself really hurt in those times when I was doing that. And the reasons why I would do that is because one, I had a fear that God would say no. Because I just viewed God like this father who was just like the strict father who it's a no from him all the time, right? and like the back of my mind, I had this idea. I realized that I was like, okay, you know what? If I do it quickly before I hear a yes or a no from God, if it turns out that it was a no, it's already done, you know. I can then be like, ish, my bad, God, it's done. I did it, and I bought the thing, or I went, and now it's here. Must I take it back? Must I do, you know, just that. And it's highly deceptive and just gross, really, actually. It's very much, it's, you know, very much that the heart is deceitful above all else type situation. And then two, I was afraid that God would not give me a clear yes, or that I would miss it. I would miss him saying yes, which again is problematic because it was evident that I had a misconception of God's character. I had the wrong understanding of God's character and his way, and his ways and how he moves. And I just wasn't taking the time to sit and listen out for that. And also it was wrong, because let me tell you something, when it's a yes, God will let you know it's a yes. God is not like a wallflower in the back of the room at a party, like afraid to, he's even that whole thing we say, oh, God works in mysterious ways. No, that's, yes, okay, his ways are mysterious because they are mysterious to us, because his ways are higher, because his thoughts are higher than ours, and as far as the heavens are from the earth, that's how high his thoughts and his ways are from ours, right? That's why. Because his ways are wiser and they are just perfect compared to ours, right? And then three, I just was scared that even if it was a yes, it would take long. I was just like, okay, God, I got to have this now. I have to go do this thing, because, you know, and also God is never in a hurry, y'all. It's never pressure. It's never like, oh my gosh, this thing has to happen. It's No, it's never like that. And so I was always just like, okay, if we do it God's way, if I wait, it's going to take long because God's going to want to do a work in me first, and he's going to want the conditions to be perfect. There's a protocol, there's order, and sometimes I don't want the order. I just want the chaos. Right? No, like real talk, real talk. You know, and also just I realized recently, because God's been talking to me about waiting, right? That's what's inspired this whole conversation that I'm now having with you. God's been talking to me about waiting. And the other day I was on the phone with my sister, and it just so happened that God's been talking to her about waiting. So we were just spazzing out, like shrieking and screaming about the fact that God was talking to both of us about waiting. And she was sharing that, you know, when you wait on someone, if you're a waiter who's waiting on someone, your job is to be attentive, to listen, to humble yourself and put yourself in a position to notice any changes in the atmosphere. If someone even slightly moves and they look like they need something, you're rushing to their side to ask what they need. You're making sure that you are in a position to respond to their need. You are making sure that you are coming correct, that you are, your demeanor, your whatever resources, whatever knowledge you need to show up in that waiting, you acquire, right? And also I was sharing that waiting is a posture. There's a posture in waiting. It's not like this boring, miserable, like punishment that we make it out to be, or that I used to make it out to be until I had this revelation. Waiting is a posture. It's a heart posture. It's a humbling yourself, and not leaning on your own understanding and saying, God, I know that your way is high, and I know that I could see better. Give me your eyes for this situation, right? It's not that miserable wait, like waiting in the doctor's rooms, waiting to go in and see the doctor, and you have to read an old magazine from 1997. I don't know why the magazines are always from like 1985, 1997. Why? But yeah, just side note. And then the other thing that has become very clear to me as well is that if God is not saying no, it's still not a yes. And even if he's not saying it's a no, or even if he's not saying anything, it's still not a yes. And even if you haven't heard a yes, it doesn't mean it's a yes. Until it's a yes, okay? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry, I created a word salad and then I got lost in the word salad. But basically, if you don't hear God say yes, it's not a yes. So that's the thing I had to learn, and I had to like just humble myself, to subdue myself, my passions, my needs, my wants, all of that stuff, right? And also just in the waiting, the waiting on God is never just going to be this like boring, miserable thing, because God is always doing something. Well, my relationship with God is very lit. It's always popping off. Something is always going down. And I'm not saying that that is the example of a relationship with God. Other people have, I'm sure, a very civil, very quiet, calm, adult relationship with God. But mine is like an amusement park. It's like we're at Disneyland. That's how it is. Yeah, so I just hate that I spent so much time hating the idea of waiting, and forgetting that even in the waiting, I can actually ask God for patience. I can say, Lord, give me patience. Or Lord, what am I supposed to be doing while I wait? What's up? What are we doing? Where's it at? You know? So yeah, if you're waiting on the Lord for something, don't just go and take it. Don't take matters into your own hands. I feel like it's just far more harmful and dangerous. And just to remember that God's a father. He's loving and he's so caring and he's so kind, and it's always for our good. Always, always, always. Yeah. Take care.